And China coming under intense scrutiny this week amid mounting criticism of its early response to the coronavirus outbreak. My first guest this morning was one of the first to see the pandemic coming. We want to bring in White House trade advisor Peter Navarro. Peter, it's great to see you this morning. And thank you for all of your early warnings and your great work on this, Peter. I know you've been busy with the supply chain issues, but I want to talk first about China and what we're learning this morning. Pro-democracy activists were arrested over the weekend, Peter. A further crackdown on Hong Kong as China continues to exert authoritarianism throughout Hong Kong. Your reaction to what we saw this weekend and, broadly speaking, what China has done in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic?
Maria, my focus here at the White House is making sure that the people of America are safe from this virus and getting things like personal protective equipment, masks, ventilators, and things like that. But here's what I can tell you about China. If you think about what China did over the course of this thing, they did four things that led to the deaths of many people worldwide. I mean, first of all, the virus was spawned in China. Second of all, they hid the virus behind the shield of the World Health Organization. The third thing they did was basically hoard personal protective equipment, and now they're profiteering from it. And if you walk through that, you were one of the first in the media to raise the question of whether that P4 lab was involved. That's an interesting issue. What we know is that the ground zero for this virus was within a few miles of that lab. If you simply do an Occam's razor approach, that the simplest explanation is probably the most likely, I think it's incumbent on China to prove that it wasn't that lab. So that's number one. But more importantly, we know that for a critical 6-week period of time, China used its influence at the World Health Organization to hide the virus from the world. This was a time where that virus could have been contained in Wuhan. Instead, 5 million Chinese people went out from Wuhan and propagated the virus around the world. That was a critical time. So that was that. And then here's what I think should be very disturbing to every American. During that period of time, that 6-week interval when they were hiding this virus from the world, China went from a net exporter of personal protective equipment, they are the largest producer of that in the world, to a large net importer. They basically went around and vacuumed up virtually all of the PPE around the world, including a lot from this country, which was, for humanitarian reasons, sharing our PPE with them. And what that did was leave people in New York, Milan, and everywhere in between defenseless when it came time to have that PPE. Now, what's happening today, which is equally alarming, is China is sitting on that hoard of PPE where it cornered the market, and it's profiteering. I have cases that are coming across my desk where 50-cent masks made in China are being sold to hospitals here in America for as much as $8.
Unbelievable.
This is a situation.
I remember a month ago when I got a call from a leading hospital executive who said to me, Maria, there are masks and gloves, protective equipment that were on a ship coming from China to America. Those ships were told to turn around, that China said, we're not keeping any commitments that we had to export any of this stuff. China wants it. And then, as you point out, they cornered the market. They already produce half of the world's capacity of this protective gear, and yet they were in the market buying 2 billion additional masks in January. Peter, I don't understand what's going on here. I mean, this is even more sinister than we thought. First, this virus escapes, sickens the world, and then they turn around and try to make it harder for the United States to get the products they need?
I think that China right now, after doing those 4 actions, which effectively have killed to date 39,000 Americans and 160,000 people worldwide, may attempt to use this crisis now to advance their own agenda worldwide. So, my focus right now is to just make sure people have everything they need here. But I think as a marker, people need to pay attention to that.
You're working with Honeywell. You're working with a number of companies. You're doing a lot, even in New York with Mayor de Blasio. We're going to get to that. I want to make sure the audience understands what's happening. But let me get your take on this. If we see all of this bad behavior continuing from China, are global companies going to recognize if they want to sell to 1.4 billion people in China, they need to do so with their eyes open? You've got intellectual theft continuing. You've got 1 million Uyghurs right now in camps in China. You've got tracking of citizens. You've got all of this behavior going on in China. So I spoke with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Friday, and I asked the secretary, is the world getting it? Is Europe, for example, our friends in Europe, saying to the secretary, look, maybe we will unwind that Huawei technology? Take a listen to what the secretary said in regards to European friends and global businesses and whether or not there's a new thinking around China. Here's what the secretary told me Friday.
I am very confident that this moment where the Chinese Communist Party failed to be transparent and open and handle data in an appropriate way will cause many, many countries to rethink what they were doing with respect to their telecom architecture. And when Huawei comes knocking to sell them equipment and hardware, that they will have a different prism through which to view that decision. I'm hopeful that's the case. This is about security and making sure that U.S. data, Americans' data that travels across their networks is safe and secure as well.
What will happen to companies that are aligned with China?
Two things. I think this has been a real moment for business leaders all across America to see the political risk associated with operations inside of China. You know this, Maria. You've been around a lot of these people. They can deal with commercial risk. They can deal with all kinds, but political risk is enormously difficult to deal with. And now we've ripped the Band-Aid off the political risk connected to that. Second, the United States government has a responsibility too. We need to make sure the supply chains for the products that matter for American national security and keeping people safe are no longer dependent on any single country, and we have a responsibility to get that right.
So with Peter Navarro this morning, Peter, you're the point man on the supply chain. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, I'm going to ask you what you're doing right now. But broadly speaking, before we go to break, real quick, do you see a different shift in thinking from companies trying to move the supply chain back to the United States as a result of China's behavior?
I see since President Donald J. Trump took office, the only president who's ever stood up to China since he took office, we've seen a shift of that supply chain because of the kinds of risk that Secretary Pompeo so eloquently just stated.
Yeah, I think this election is going to be about China.